Welcome to Am I the A-hole, where OP refuses to help his adoptive parents financially because they left him to fend for himself after having their own children. OP's adoptive parents spent all their income on their biological children, but they are not ready to help their parents back. Now, OP's adoptive parents have reached out to him and asked for financial help. Let's listen to the story to see what happens next. My biological parent passed away in a car accident when I was 3 years old. After their death, I was adopted by a couple who had no children. They raised me as their own until they had their first biological child. After that, their behavior towards me changed drastically. Now they have 3 biological children, 28M, 27F, and 24F. And I, 36M, am their 4th son, but adopted. Growing up, my adoptive parents were always generous with giving money when asked, except when it came to me. I was told that I should learn to work hard and that I didn't need the new video game or toy. While my siblings could get whatever they desired, I was told that I needed to work for what I wanted. So, after high school, I started working a job and managed all my expenses on my own. After I graduated from college, I struggled financially because the rents were too high for me to afford in the area where I was working. When I asked my adoptive parents for help, they refused, and because of their refusal, I became homeless. After around 2 months, I met a friend who was living in a rundown apartment. He was also struggling financially and was not able to afford the rent for that rundown apartment. So, we decided to share the apartment. During this difficult time, I asked my adoptive parents for help multiple times, but they were not ready to listen to me, and they were busy helping their biological children and enjoying their life. My adoptive parents not only supported my siblings through college, but also provided them with lump sums after graduation to help them start their lives. They have been there to assist whenever needed. However, they never helped me. After years of hard work, I have become a successful businessman, doing very well for myself and living a luxurious life. All my siblings have moved out and are busy with their own lives, visiting their parents only occasionally. Meanwhile, my adoptive parents are now retired and facing financial difficulties. Their savings are dwindling, and they are very worried. When they asked our siblings for financial help, they refused, saying their incomes are only enough for themselves and they could not help. Last week, my adoptive parents reached out to me and said that they needed mine and my wife's help. They mentioned how great they have been and how they never say no to any of us. I told them they never helped me with anything and that they preferred to see me homeless rather than assist me. They argued back, saying that it never happened and that I could have asked for help if things were that bad. I showed them screenshots of texts where I had brought up the topic after asking them verbally. My adoptive parents dismissed it and then told me that they are still my parents and that I am the most settled and could afford to help them. I acknowledged that I could help, but I pointed out that they hadn't earned it. I also reminded them that they are not my biological parents, but rather my adoptive parents, who left me to fend for myself after having their own children. They accused me of being spiteful and urged me to help them instead of letting them lose everything. I pointed out to them that they should ask their biological children for help, not me. My siblings were upset that I refused to assist and criticized me for being petty towards our parents. Aita for refusing to help my adoptive parents out financially? OP is not the a-hole at all. OP's parents are being selfish. It is completely reasonable for OP to want to set boundaries, especially because his adoptive parents discriminated against him throughout their lives and didn't help him. On one hand, OP's siblings were getting complete financial support from his parents, and OP was left to be homeless. OP's adoptive parents must be ashamed for asking him for help. If I were the OP, I would have an open conversation with them and tell them how their actions in the past are impacting me and my willingness to support them. If they realized their mistake and apologized for the same, I would help them. Let's move on to another Am I the AH scenario, where OP refused to give up his table in a cafe to a pregnant woman because OP was studying at the table. This story is quite intriguing, so let's explore it further. I study at a cafe on Saturday mornings. The cafe is always busy, which helps me focus on my studies. The cafe's owner has known me for years and has no problem with me studying there. To show my appreciation, I often order some food and stay for 2 to 3 hours. The cafe has 2 large tables, many 2-person tables, and some counter seating.
Even though I'm alone, I prefer to sit at a two-person table as they are more comfortable.
Yesterday, around 9 a.m., I was working at a table when a random pregnant woman sat across from me. I was a bit annoyed, but I decided to ignore it, thinking she might be waiting for her food. As I glanced up, I noticed she was conversing with a man in the line to order. The man mentioned that they might have to take their food to go as there were no available tables. Without directly addressing me, she gestured towards me, indicating that they might take over my table. This further irritated me, as it felt like I was being treated as an object that could be moved. I resolved to politely ask them not to sit at my table when the time came. After some time, the man brought the order and asked me to move to the counters so he and his wife could sit at my table. I declined, explaining that the counters were uncomfortable for me, and there wasn't enough space for my books and notes. The lady called me rude and inconsiderate, saying I shouldn't be there since I wasn't eating. I mentioned I had bought breakfast and a drink, and they could take their order to go. The argument escalated, and the man grabbed me by the collar and pushed me outside the table. Before a fight could break out, a worker intervened and also arranged a table for the couple. I felt so humiliated after this incident, I left the cafe. When I returned home, I shared the incident with my roommate, expecting her to side with me and console me. However, she was hesitant. She acknowledged that their behavior was rude and entitled, but also pointed out that I had occupied a table at a busy cafe for an extended period, suggesting that I could have moved to accommodate others. Now, I am so confused and feeling very low. So, I am here to seek an outside perspective on whether if I am AH? Everyone sucks. I don't understand why OP was studying at a cafe. Cafes are for eating, not studying. If he had to study, he should have chosen a library. OP is being entitled. As far as the couple is concerned, they also did wrong. If they needed a table, instead of arguing with the OP, they should have asked the workers to arrange a table for them. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Is the OP an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.